We are back in this special edition of Close Up in Prime Time. We mentioned earlier Ron DeSantis is in Ankeny tonight. He is expected to begin speaking at an event at the district soon. Let's take a live look right now. You can see people speaking on stage in DeSantis's behalf. We also heard from Florida's governor earlier today during his stop in Dubuque.
We built a great army here. Tomorrow's going to be fun for us, and I love when the media and stuff. I would much rather be an underdog. That's how I've done every race that I've ever been in. DeSantis fell to third place in the latest Iowa poll. The Florida governor is planning to hold caucus day rallies in eastern Iowa before returning to Des Moines caucus night. KCCI spent months speaking with undecided Republicans leading up to the caucuses. It was part of our Coffee with the Candidates series. KCCI chief political reporter Amanda Rooker touched base with some of those caucus goers to see if they'd made up their minds yet. Amanda, can't wait to hear this.
Yes, Stacey, Ben, this is so fascinating. So I talked with 4 of those Iowans to check in with what they're thinking about. And these are Iowans that live in all different parts of central Iowa. Now, months ago, when I first met them, they were undecided. And now in the final hours before caucus night, they tell me most of them still have not made up their minds. You all sat down with various different Republican presidential candidates to ask them some questions. And at one point in this race, you were undecided in who you plan to caucus for. Kevin, we're going to start with you. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts right now.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm usually pretty decided in a lot of things that I do, but this presidential race has been one that I've personally put more time into the caucus than I think any other one in my life. But at this time right now, I really like Governor DeSantis and Ambassador Haley. So I've kind of gone back and forth a couple different times on which one I think I'm going to caucus for Monday night, and I'm still kind of 50-50 split on the two of them. So I will be caucusing for one of them. Right now I'm still undecided. So
Ryan, let's go to you. Do you know who you plan to caucus for? And if so, why?
I think for me, this whole race has come down to Trump. And I just view him as an extremely distractive force right now in our country. I do think he did a good job while he was in office, but I don't think his character and his leadership style is what our country needs. I think a leader should be someone who tries to cast goals for our country and cast a vision. And with him, I just hear a lot of name calling, a lot of insults to people who have been extremely loyal to him. And so for me, I'm just sad that it's coming down to potentially the same 2 options we had in 2020, because I just feel like the entire country wants to move on, and yet we're still. So I agree with Kevin. I think it's a 2-person race for me between DeSantis and Haley. I guess I'm largely undecided, but I think what it's going to come down to for me is who do I think actually has a chance to win. And I think Nikki Haley right now seems to have a lot of good momentum. And I think she could attract a lot of that independent, moderate vote.
Betsy, let's go to you now. What are your thoughts? Do you know who you're planning to caucus for, or are you like Kevin and Ryan and still undecided?
With our 3 top candidates that we have right now, my top candidate to caucus for is Nikki Haley. And the reasons why, except for this past debate, I thought she handled herself very well on the stage. I want a president who has grace and has grit and has character. And unfortunately, we kind of seem to be struggling with that as a Republican Party, to have somebody fitting all 3 of those criteria. But my caucus vote will be for Nikki Haley.
Krista, I'm going to go to you next. Do you know who you plan to caucus for, or are you undecided?
Well, at one time, a little bit ago, I thought I was very decided. And now it's just, there's so many things. I'm glad to hear that everyone here today feels the same way. They're kind of undecided. And I too have given the most thought and the most research into this election than I ever have with any other election. And I'm between President Trump and Governor DeSantis. I want a president that can hit the ground running. And I want a president that we can get back as fast as we can where we once were. I don't know with President Trump. He did a wonderful job the first time. But the divisiveness was hard, and it's hard to think about going back to that. But I know that he can do the job, but with all the baggage, I don't know if it's worth it. Governor DeSantis has proven himself in the state of Florida. He's a very smart man. I hope and I'm sure that he can surround himself with the people that he needs to hit the ground running. So every day, every minute, practically, I waver back and forth. And so I'm glad to be here today to kind of hear other people's opinions.
Krista, you said a second ago that, up until a few days ago, maybe, that you felt very decided. What changed? Who were you decided for, and maybe what changed for you?
Well, I was probably decided very much for President Trump, because I want someone that can hit the ground running. I want someone that has a record of being able to do it. But everything that's been in the news, and there's just one barrier after another, and I don't think they're credible. But you still have to go to court. You still have to fight them. Your mind is off somewhere else. So I just don't know if that's something that can be overcome.
Kevin, I want to go back to you. Are there certain issues? Are there character traits that would be the thing to seal the deal for you one way or the other?
At this point, I've probably had 600 million things in my mailbox from everybody, and I've seen the commercials, and I've gone out and talked to them. So truthfully, not really. For me, it's either going to be, Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis. And I keep going back and forth, between the two of them. So, like I said, it's probably going to be a game time call for me on Monday.
A coin flip for you?
Well, it's like I'm trying to weigh out between which one do I think has got the best chance of attracting more people to vote for. To vote for, say, the Republicans, or to vote against Joe Biden. It really comes down to that. And so, and I do think the Governor DeSantis, I think he'll bring a lot of people over too. But, and then there's also something too to saying, with Nikki Haley, you could have your first female president of the United States. And I think that's also appealing, and that's going to help too in terms of getting some votes. So, it'll be pretty much a Monday evening game time decision for me.
And you hear Kevin right there say it's going to be a game time decision. Some of those undecided caucus goers would fall into this latest poll, said that 7% of likely GOP caucus goers don't have a first choice candidate at this point. Now, 25% of likely GOP caucus goers say they could be persuaded to support someone other than their first choice candidate.